Hello and welcome to this virtual meeting of the Council of the Town of Oakville. Madam Clerk, I understand we have regrets. Do you want to identify any regrets?
Yes, Mayor Burton, we have regrets from Councillor Elgar.
Thank you. Council and the public, I invite you to join us now in O Canada.
Mayor Burton, you're muted.
I hope I'm not muted anymore. In 1820, Indigenous people here began welcoming settlers from across the empire. Soon, they were helping Black people fleeing from the United States to settle here too. Today, our Indigenous founding partners are still here, enjoying this land with us. They fish and camp under their treaty rights. Indigenous people in their thousands also live with us as neighbors and friends. We have a wampum belt relationship with the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are the treaty holders. Our Indigenous white and Black settlers created a community with an attractive degree of harmony and prosperity. In 1857, Ontario gave official recognition of Oakville as a town. At Town Hall, all of these years later, we fly the flag of the Mississaugas of the Credit beside the flags of Oakville, Ontario, and Canada. We fly these flags together to acknowledge our origins. People from all over the world are attracted to the livability that we have and are creating. We offer newcomers a warm spirit of welcome. We offer everyone our founding story, so everyone knows what we are a part of. We feel sorrow and distress for acts of racism and intolerance suffered across Canada and here at home. We want our future to be equitable and inclusive for all. The path of truth and reconciliation can unite us all. Please keep well, stay safe, and let us on council know of any chance to be helpful to you and yours. Please let us know anytime you can help increase Oakville's harmony, prosperity, and livability. Madam Clerk, I think I need to call for declarations of pecuniary interest. Councillor Haslett-Deal.
Mayor Burton, I have to declare pecuniary interest on 11.1. I spoke to the Integrity Commissioner before the matter was heard, and I was advised to do so because I provided some preliminary information on a bylaw. And so I'm recusing myself from 11.1.
I see. Thank you very much. The clerk will circulate the necessary form to you tomorrow. Council, the minutes of the previous council meetings as listed in the agenda need to be confirmed or corrected. Councillor Duddick, who was the seconder? Councillor Longo, thank you. Any objection? Madam Clerk, there being no objection, the minutes are confirmed. I'd like to say at this time that if there's anyone watching the live stream of the meeting on oakville.ca who wishes to speak to any item on the council agenda, you may do so by calling 905-815-6095, 905-815-6095, 6095, and we'll connect you to the meeting. You'll be called upon to speak following any other registered delegations before you. Council, we have no public presentations, and we have standing committee reports. The minutes of the Committee of the Whole from Midtown Oakville meeting January 30th, the confidential minutes of the closed section of the Committee of the Whole on the same date. And the indicated motion is that the minutes be approved and the public minutes, and that the confidential minutes be approved. Is there a mover and seconder? Councillor Lischina, Councillor Sheep, thank you. Any objection? There being no objection, the minutes are confirmed and approved. We need two members to move and second. Councillor McNeese, thank you. And Councillor Haslett-Deal, I'll take that for a second. No, I'll look for another second then. Councillor Chisholm. This is to resolve into Committee of the Whole. Any objection? There being none, that carries, and we're now in the somewhat relaxed rule environment of the Committee of the Whole. The consent items before us are 8.1 and 8.2. 8.1 is the approval of the 2024 budgets for the business improvement areas as submitted by the business improvement areas. And 8.2 is corporate policy update. I'm looking for a motion for the consent items. Councillor Haslett-Deal, your hand is up, so you get to go first.
Thank you, Mayor Burton. I'd like to speak to 8.1 and 8.2.
Well, let me get a motion for these items. Councillor Giddings, and that will open the floor for discussion. Councillor Haslett-Deal, can we take them one at a time?
Oh, absolutely. I just wanted to comment that we are so fortunate to have the quality of BIAs that we have. The value that the members get from their levy is significant. And while each BIA has different levels of membership, and so the volume of their budgets and what they gather in terms of revenue will vary, each of them makes such a great contribution, both as a cooperative, as I would say, to events and to traffic and commercial building, but also they make a tremendous contribution to the residents. And I would be very pleased to move this. And I also feel that we need to constantly remember just how important they are to the success of downtown and Kerr and Bronte. They really do make a tremendous difference.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Giddings has moved both items, but you'll be welcome to vote for it. Councillor Knoll, you're next.
I know. The first one to do it tonight, I'm sure. Thank you, Worship, for recognizing me. I just wanted to, first of all, apologize. I'm a little bit late. I had to bring greetings to the premiere of Freedom on the 16th tonight, which is taking place with Black History Month. But the reason I wanted to speak was I need to declare a conflict of interest on this item on the Kerr Street portion of the budget. I am the director and CEO of a company that is a member of the Kerr Street BIA, and as such would benefit from the outcome of this vote.
Well, thank you. A declaration of conflict that is also an endorsement of the BIA. Very good. So the clerk will show that you didn't participate or vote in the matter. 8.2, well, we have a motion for both of them. So if is there any objection to 8.1? If there isn't, I'll declare 8.1 carried on Councillor Giddings' motion. Madam Clerk, there's no objection, and so that's carried. Councillor Haslett-Deal, you have first speaking rights for 8.2.
Thank you, Mayor Burton. I just wanted to say that I'm appreciative of some of the adjustments that have been made on the corporate policy in regards to the violence in the workplace. And I would like to emphasize that there's a word in there called promptly. We don't define it. And at some point, I think we do need to define it. Well, we can look it up in the dictionary. I consider best practice to always put a days or a time clock on it out of respect for both parties that might be involved in harassment allegations. But beyond that, I'm pleased to see some of the wording changes in it. I think it gives it modernizes it, and it speaks to the importance of clarity. Happy to move it at the right time, but I guess it's already been moved, so I guess I'll be quiet.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Giddings has the honor of moving it, but everyone's free to show their support by voting. Are there any other speakers? May I put the vote?
Mayor Burton, we do have a delegation for this matter.
Ah, well, let's call the delegation then.
Hugh Doherty.
We'll wait while you bring Mr. Doherty online.
Okay. Hello, this is Hugh Doherty speaking. How are you this evening?
We're great, and we're delighted to tell you that we can hear you fine. Oops. Did we lose you? Mr. Doherty?
Oh, there we go. We can hear. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. We can see you now too.
Technology. Yes. So, yes, I'd like to. Okay, first of all, I'm going to ask somebody to time me because I'm terrible on time. I'm Irish and we talk. So, but I'd like to open up by saying Shalom, Assalamu alaikum. May God be with you. And as they say from the city I come from, Derry in Ireland, what about you? So, health and safety are important for all of us. While health and safety laws are usually the purview of higher levels of government, I'm happy to see that the council addressed them at the city level today, especially. But there are areas of vulnerability that need to be included and addressed in the world of today that has not been within the scope of such policies in the past, especially workplace violence, and I commend you on that. Perhaps we can look at intimidation, verbal abuse, and other aspects of workplace harassment. And as like the previous member mentioned, I think we have to be careful on the wording, not being too general. But I like the resolution. I like the ruling as the resolution as it stands. Now, I'm happy the council has addressed issues of violence in the past. This is our responsibility as citizens and leaders. The issues such as support for the people of Ukraine, when their water, food, and medical supply lines were cut off by Russia, they were subjected to civil target bombing and shootings by an aggressor that continued to target hospitals and infrastructure. Standing against such inhumane behavior is important, and I'm glad the City Council did that. Silence is consent in this kind of case, as we've known through history. A resolution was passed by this body calling for an end to the atrocities being committed, and for that I commend you. I would also like to commend the mayor and the council for the resolution passed recently promoting a ceasefire in and around Gaza in Palestine. The resolution adopted was, in my view, better than the original proposal. It would have suited the community better, however, I think, if the resolution adopted was promoted by the mayor and the council to the same level that they did for the resolution for the Ukrainian people. I believe this was a missed opportunity. The meeting held to consider the resolution as item 10.1 on the agenda was, in my view, mismanaged and did not demonstrate respect for many people in this community. Am I still on? Hello?
Hello,
I'm still on. So, weeks before the city council.
Sir, you're on topic, but you're on.
Yep. Okay. So weeks before the city council meeting was to take place, in item 10.1 was added to the agenda a resolution proposed by a sitting councillor calling for immediate ceasefire in hostilities in Gaza.
Sir,
The public had an option to apply to speak on the matter before the council as delegates. I was one of over 20 delegates. So we followed. Sorry, hello? Yes, Mayor.
Can we mute, or what's going on here?
Mr. Doherty, you've wandered off the topic that you registered to delegate for. If you cannot stick to that topic, I'm going to have to cut you off. So if I'm not sure you may not appreciate, but I can't hear you while we have you muted.
Well, I'm not muted now, so you can hear me.
So I'm asking, can you stick to the topic for which you registered, or do you want to continue?
Well, the topic brought in the idea of the city speaking against violence, and I like that. But we've tried many ways of speaking to the mayor and the council, and you have refused to meet us on any level. So this is our only avenue of speaking to you, sir.
No, your only avenue is not to disrupt a meeting or to disrespect our.
Well, sir, you don't give us any options whenever you ignore our emails, you ignore our messages, you ignore our requests, and you ignore the community, and you made racially inflammatory comments at the last council meeting.
Mr. Doherty, you're done. Madam Clerk?
Yeah, well, you know.
He's out of here. Now, is there anyone who, I'm gonna call the vote on 8.2. Is there any objection to 8.2? Madam Clerk, there being no objection, that carries. We now come to item 10, the discussion item, and confidential item 11.1 and 11.2. This is the OEC, Oakville Enterprises Corporation, quarterly update. And the number to call if you wish to participate is 905-815-6095. And first up is a presentation from the President and CEO of Oakville Enterprises, Mr. Rob Lister.
Good day. I'm visible. Great.
We see you and Mary, and we hear you both.
Perfect. Well, good evening.
Your slides. So away you go.
Good. Well, good evening, Mayor Burton and members of council. Once again, very pleased to be here this evening to present an update on OEC to council, and really appreciate this opportunity. Now, with me online today is Mary Caputi, EVP of Business Development and Chief of Staff, as well as David Brennan, Chair of the OEC Board of Directors. Other staff members and board members are viewing the meeting online this evening. Now, Mary will be providing the presentation today, and I'm just going to comment that OEC has had a very good 2023. Financially, growth, operations, and most of all, safety of our employees and the public. We're currently working with the auditors to finalize the financial statements. So at our annual general meeting here with council in May, I'll provide a fulsome report on our 2023 performance. Today, Mary is going to provide an industry update on several initiatives at the provincial level, OEC, and Oakville Hydro. And I would ask Mary to start presenting. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Good evening, Mayor Burton and councillors. I'm pleased to provide the next update. Next slide, please. Energy is in the pinnacle of change throughout the world. And closer to home, the provincial government was tasked with a diverse expert panel to provide a pathway to a clean energy economy by 2050. As part of a consultation process, the Ontario Electrification and Energy Transition Report was released on January 19, 2024, of which OEC had the opportunity to be part of. Highlights of the report include a government-wide commitment to aligning private, social, and public forces, a strategic vision and policy to manage the transition, prioritizing affordability, reliability, and resilience, fostering Indigenous partnerships to scaling up the energy infrastructure investments needed, preparing the regulatory landscape, ensuring the independent electricity system operator and the Ontario Energy Board have clear and distinct roles, driving collaborative energy planning between both the electricity and natural gas sectors, and fostering public support for customers and communities. Next slide, please. The report has 29 recommendations, which have been grouped into 5 categories: planning for the electrification, governance and accountability to enable innovation and coordinating regulators, partnerships with Indigenous groups, innovation and economic development, emphasizing integrated clean energy into policy and funding the electrification and energy transition, and finally, consumer and community perspectives through active engagement. Next slide, please. With this report, OEC sees opportunities. For Oakville Hydro, it will adapt to new regulatory frameworks and practices to service the advancing customers' electrical needs. Energy conservation and demand management will be revitalized. For the OEC businesses, we can leverage the design build technologies and services with our energy partners and expand the infrastructure. We will seek opportunities for smart grid technologies. And lastly, we'll invest in green, renewable electricity generation, such as geo-exchange, energy storage, and solar, to contribute to the demand forecasted in the future. Next slide, please. At a more local level, Oakville Hydro's long-range electricity is outlined in 4 areas. System planning, Oakville Hydro is refreshing its long-term predictive load forecasts to include variables of electrification and Oakville's housing growth projections. It's advancing its utility transformation with the increased complexity of the grid. And finally, from a design perspective, we're modernizing our standards and practices to align with electrification and to be resilient for the impact of climate change. And for the customers, we are establishing an electrification information hub for customers' use. Next slide, please. Specifically this year, through our asset management plan, we have highlighted here by ward the construction projects for Oakville Hydro. Some highlights include road widening in Ward 1, 2, 6, and 7, end-of-life replacements in Ward 3 at Kingsway for cable and Allen Street for pole replacements, and in Ward 5, a transformer replacement at the Munns substation. Next slide, please. Energy storage is becoming more and more prevalent. Several years ago, Oakville Hydro and it partnered with Quanta Technology and leveraged the Ontario Smart Grid Fund to design, construct, and install its first in Ontario mobile battery energy storage system. The 250 units seen pictured here is deployed at the Cross Avenue substation. The major use cases for this unit is to provide peak shaving opportunities during high demand, supplying customers during outages and its scheduled maintenance requirements, and lastly, provide backup for emergency loads. In the future, we do plan to have this unit participate in energy pilots for the evolution of the electrical grid. Next slide, please. If we take a more global view of the electrification infrastructure of tomorrow, highlighted here we have Norway, Sweden, and Detroit, Michigan, whom have launched projects focused on wireless electric road systems aimed at charging electrical vehicles while they are in motion. In Norway, for example, in 2023, 82% of all the vehicles sold were electric. Next slide, please. Health and safety is our top priority. Many of our companies have now achieved the National Safety Core certification, signifying commitment of safety excellence. In addition, we support the safety of young workers, public, and students through training and awareness campaigns for the communities we serve. Next slide, please. Last year, we affirmed our commitment to Indigenous initiatives through the Canadian Council of Aboriginal Business, advancing 4 pillars: economic, employment, leadership actions, business development, and customer relationships. In mid-February, we participated in the job fair in Ohsweken, Ontario, where we had young minds and talents with the platform to engage, connect with us on future career possibilities. Next slide, please. This concludes the OEC update. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much for a delightful report, where delightful is defined as any report that promises at the next meeting for exciting results. So look forward to that. Councillor Longo.
Thank you, Your Worship. Mary, great presentation. How long does the battery actually, the mobile battery, how long does that last? How long? Because you talked about it being used in different circumstances, but how long can it actually last?
Between 3 and 4 hours.
Okay, cool. Yeah, great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Giddings.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, very much enjoyed the presentation and reading the report when it came out. Long-term versus short-term. There are a lot of projects that are being talked about in terms of net zero, low to no emissions, emissions-free cooling and heating, as well as geothermal and so on. Like, incredibly exciting. Is there a roadmap in terms of some of the short-term items that you've already mentioned versus some of the more complex, longer-term solutions?
Well, I think we're trying to balance the short term and the long term, and what we can proceed with right now, and what takes a longer term to analyze and look at the financial benefits of why we would, move forward in different directions. So we're sort of balancing that now that the report comes out on how best to move forward.
All right, and another question in terms of there was a comment in an email exchange in terms of working with developers on solutions for greener communities. Just wondering how that ties in vis-a-vis the Ontario Building Code, or whether this is something that our building partners are volunteering on.
I would say it's probably both. I think I think the building code will change, but part of it is to be a more sustainable community. So I think it would be both areas.
Exciting times. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Before I call Councillor Lischina, I'd just like to add to your question, Councillor Giddings. We were, I think all of us, very pleased when Mattamy voluntarily on its own decided to do geothermal for one of its new subdivisions north of Dundas. So voluntary progress, as surprising as it was, apparently does happen. Councillor Lischina?
So I was going to follow up on Councillor Giddings' question, and including yours, Mayor Burton, about the Geo Exchange.
I beg your pardon.
Appears to be the topic of the night. So thank you for that presentation, Mary. The opportunities to increase the energy demand. So are you, besides Mattamy, is this becoming a little bit more frequent where developers are looking to include Geo Exchange as part of their building? Would they be coming to, would they be coming to Oakville Hydro, or they have other options as well?
Well, currently, I mean, we do have some projects here in Oakville, but we do have them outside of the Oakville territory. So we do have some in the other geographies in Ontario. For instance, Ottawa is one area. So it's not, so it is moving across the province.
I was at a groundbreaking for another geothermal project by another builder up Trafalgar above Dundas. So yes, it's a catching on thing. I remember when the builders used to tell us when we would promote greener standards, but the customer wants marble. Apparently the customer has been improved. Well, they've been adding to what they want. Councillor McNeese.
I just wanted to highlight that we have 2 geothermal projects going on in Brownie right now. So the drilling has started on one and is starting on the second, both voluntary from what I understand.
That's right. So it's catching on, and maybe you want to reassure people that our noise standards and construction rules aren't going to change. All right, thank you. If there are no other questions, I would entertain a motion to receive. Councillor Lischina, thank you. Any objection? There being none, the presentation is received. Council, our next 2 items are confidential discussion items. One considers the judicial review application in Ontario Superior Court from an appeal from a committee decision at 277 Lakeshore Road East concerning 3 fascia signs. And we have a delegation. I would propose that we hear the delegation, and then I would propose that we go into camera to hear legal advice on the matter. And then we can indicate to staff what our direction might be. You have to, staff are asking that you pick one of three options. Councillor O'Meara, is that you offering the motion we need?
It is, your worship, just as long as we are also going into camera on 11.2 as well, just so we're clear.
Yes, so at the appropriate time, I'll take your motion to go into camera for, and I'll give the wording of it when we get there, but first let's have the clerk bring in the delegation from Stacy Turner, as I understand it. Hello, Ms. Turner. We can hear, we think we can hear you. And
hey there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey there, I'm just in front of town hall with all of your constituents that you're ignoring.
Madam Clerk, it looks like another imposter. You can turn this one off. All right, Councillor O'Meara, your motion that council resolve into a closed meeting session for the purpose of litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, with respect to item 11.1 and 11.2. That's your motion, right, Councillor? Any objection to the motion? Madam Clerk, there being none, that carries. And Council, I think we need, if memory serves, about 5 minutes to adjust the technology to have a meeting in camera for this purpose. Councillor, how's it feel?
Mayor Burton, I cannot participate in 11.1. So will somebody email me when we get to 11.2?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
we'll do that.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now calling to order this session of council, having repaired or resolved into a closed meeting session for the purpose of considering matters related to litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, with respect to items 11.1 and 11.2. The chair recognizes Councillor Duddick for a motion on 11.1. Councillor, yes. The indicated motion would be that staff be instructed to pursue option blank. You will fill in the number as outlined in the report from the legal department dated February 13th, 2024.
The third option, Mayor Burton.
Thank you. Is there an objection to Councillor Duddick's motion?
There is a recorded vote, your worship, please.
Sure. Would any opposed put their hands up? And that would be Councillor O'Meara, Councillor McNeese, and Councillor Giddings. And the clerk will record you in opposition and record the rest of us in support of Councillor Duddick's motion. Is that satisfactory to you, Councillor? Okay, thank you. And the chair recognizes Councillor Duddick for a motion on 11.2. The motion indicated in the public agenda is that staff proceed with a public report outlining the revised scope of the project as outlined in the report from Transportation and Engineering and Legal Departments.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there any objection to Councillor Duddick's motion? Councillor, how's that feel?
Mayor Burton, I just wanted to ask a question because we are out of camera. It has all of the learnings that we got from the 2-year project on Lakeshore Road been incorporated in terms of what the terms and the scope of work will be and how it will function? I just, it was a journey and a half. The businesses were incredibly distraught at one point, you may recall, and the constant interruption, the need for expediting, all of those elements. We learned some things along the way. I just want to understand if those are being incorporated into the scope of work, the expectations, the contracts. I would not want to put people through what we all experienced again, or at least find a way to mitigate it.
Well, I look to the CAO to answer that question.
Absolutely, Councillor Haslet-Theo. There were a number of learnings we had at Lakeshore Road that we'll put into the work that we're going to be undertaking on Bronte. It's a very similar circumstance in terms of the BIA and businesses in the area. So there were many things that we built into that program and learned over its 2-year time frame that will ensure we build in the RFP.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor. Council, would someone like to move that we rise and report to council? Councillor Chisholm, thank you. Any objection to Councillor Chisholm's motion? Madam Clerk, there being none, that carries. Thank you, Councillor Chisholm. I rise and report the Committee of the Whole has met and made recommendations on consent items 8.1, 8.2, discussion item 10.1, and confidential discussion items 11.1 and 11.2, as noted by the clerk. Could I have a mover and seconder for this report? Councillor Shi and Councillor Knoll, thank you. Any objection? Madam Clerk, there's no objection. The report is adopted. Council, you have your information items circulated electronically and listed in the agenda, and your status of outstanding issues for February. We have a bit of new business. A notice of motion has been brought forward by Councillor Lischina and Councillor McNeese. Before I cover that, Councillor Shi, did you have something under new business?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I just want to express my appreciation to all the volunteers and the co-organizers for the significant contribution to the resulting success of the Lunar New Year celebration at Town Hall on February 16th. So without their unwavering dedication and hard work, such a remarkable result would not have been possible. So a special thank you goes to Jen Zhou, Frank Zhang, Joyce Dong, Rebecca Lee, DJ Kevin Zhang, and our talented poster designer Jenny Zhang, volunteer Angela True, and other additional 20 high school students volunteers. Additional, I extend my gratitude for the support from the Halton Asian Heritage Society. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor O'Meara?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to wish a special good luck to the dancers of Goggin Stewart Irish Dance School. There are 15 young ladies and boys who are representing Oakville in the world at the World Irish Dance Competition in Glasgow, Scotland, coming up in the next 2 weeks, they leave. They will be performing all over Oakville and Burlington over the St. Patrick's Day weekend. But they are going to represent our town and they're going to do great things, and we're wishing them the best of luck. My daughter, one of them. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I know we all join you in our high hopes for the success of your daughter and her dance group. Councillor Duddick?
Thank you, Your Worship. I wanted to express condolences on the recent passing of Brendan Kane. For many of us who've been long time Oakvillians, Councillor Chisholm included, Brendan's family has been a very, very active family within the Oakville community, and he was an extremely vivacious, outgoing individual. As such, there'll be a visitation, I believe it's on Thursday, and a celebration of life, and a reception afterwards at the Legion. And just to connect the dots, for many, Ann Sargent is his sister. So if you want further details, please consult Oakville Funeral Home for additional times.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Chisholm.
Thank you for that, Councillor Dudek. I was going to bring that forward, but I'm glad you've done it. Thank you very much. And just on one other note, just backing up a bit, the memo with respect to the patio program, I would like to congratulate and thank staff for making the patio program a streamless process in the coming year. The new things they're putting in, getting earlier applications in, and working with the BIAs is exceptional. So thank you to staff for moving forward on the patio program. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Noel.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to take a moment to ask everybody to save the dates of June 21 through 23rd. The Oakville Family Rib Fest is making its return to Sheridan College in beautiful Ward 5. And we hope that everybody will take a moment to mention it in their upcoming newsletters, asking people to circle that date. It's one of the biggest events, most anticipated events in town, and we're so pleased that the partnership of the Rotary Club and now the Lions have come together to make this event even bigger and better than ever before. I believe that members of council were invited to a kickoff event this coming Thursday night. Hope that we will see you there, and you can learn more about the Rib Fest and how you can potentially participate in the upcoming organizational plans. So Rib Fest, June 21 to 23 at Sheridan College.
Thank you, Councillor Knoll, for that delicious announcement. Are there any requests for reports? I'm not aware of any. And seeing none, I'm going to ask if I could get a mover and seconder for consideration and reading of the bylaws. Councillor Longo and Councillor Grant, thank you. Any objection? Madam Clerk, there is no objection. And so the bylaws as listed in the agenda are considered read and passed. That ends the work of this meeting.
Mayor Burton, if I could interrupt, I don't believe you went further into the notice of motion that was moved by Councillor Lischina and Councillor McNeice. Did you want to read that into the record?
They advised me that all they wanted was to be noted that it was on and that they would read it and speak to it when it comes back.
Thank you.
Councillor Lischina?
My apologies, Mayor Burton. I did want to, I thought you might read it, but since I have found it, because I don't believe that it was in the original agenda. So my apologies for that. So again, thank you very much, Councillor McNeice, for seconding this. It's very short. Whereas the township of Trafalgar, a predecessor to the town of Oakville, created what is now town of Oakville Water Air Rescue Force, known as TOWAR, in 1954. And whereas the Executive Committee of TOWAR has decided to change its name to Oakville Marine Search and Rescue, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of Town of Oakville approved the name change of TOWAR to Oakville Marine Search and Rescue. So I look forward to council support next month. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councillor McNeice, did you have anything to say?
I'll just echo that, and potentially a future home for them in Bronte. So I'm happy to support this.
Thank you. I saw a hand before I declared the meeting over. Councillor Adams, did you think better of that?
Yes, my issue has been resolved. I only wanted Councillor Lischina the opportunity to read the motion because it hadn't been read.
All right. Well, many hands have worked together to give us a successful meeting. It's been terrific working with you, and that ends our meeting. Good night.